So, why did God make people? And was it a mistake? I remember in grade school, probably about fourth grade, I was really puzzled by why God would make us. I know it sounds strange, but I was a strange little kid, and I really couldn't quite wrap my brain around why God would do it. After all, He had all the angels, and people are trouble. They're just weak and sick and, stupid. Um, but, as I thought about it, I realized that, yes, God had these colossal, amazing beings that we call angels, and evidently there's great variety to them, and they're brilliant and beautiful and just phenomenal beings. But I realized that even though God had given them so much of Himself, intelligence and gorgeousness, and all the good stuff, that He could not guarantee character and loyalty and faithfulness from these creatures. In fact, what we know from Scripture is that there was war in heaven, and that Lucifer and a third of the angels actually rebelled against God and were defeated and cast down. Well, my belief and what I came to at that time early in my life could have been fifth grade. I don't know exactly when it was, but um, what I came to believe was that God wanted more for His creatures than just what He gave the angels. He wanted to give Himself in a more powerful and profound way, to be connected to His creatures in even a more loving way than He loved the angels, which were delightful and are the ones that are still with Him. But in order to be able to trust that He can impart even more of Himself to His creatures, He needed some way for them to be tried and tested. And therefore, when Satan and his hosts were cast down from heaven, in my conception, they were cast to the earth and pretty much exiled here, that it provided the substrate, the conditions that were required to forge character. Now, even before there was evil, a world where there was struggle, where there was bad weather, and uh, ferocious beasts or dinosaurs. There were certainly challenges that human-like beings could grow in endurance and courage, perhaps even grow to some degree in faithfulness to the clan or to their spouse or their children. There was not the kind of dynamic required to truly give that um, ability to taste evil and to either embrace it or reject it, which is the world that we are inhabiting. Is a world where we have the option, the opportunity, the ability to experience evil in all of its gore and all of its glory, so to speak, because evil is pleasurable for a season. It does give us that sense of control and power and being able to um, be God for ourselves, to take matters into our own hands, to control our pain and suffering, to take vengeance on those who hurt us, to extract all the sweetness out of any experience, and to exploit the world in a way that benefits us. But we also have the privilege and the opportunity to see where that path leads us. Satan could not probably completely imagine what exile from God would be like, because he'd always been in the presence of God. We, though, on this planet, do not constantly experience the presence of God. Certainly in Him we move and live and have our being. He's around us, and we certainly experience the fruit of His creativity and His divine providence and blessing. But there are certainly moments where He seems far off. And when we are beset by pain and hardship and suffering and the reality of evil and separateness from God. And so we have this beautiful opportunity here on the planet to choose whether to surrender to love that God is, in spite of the fact that He doesn't always show up for us in the way that we wish, to show that we are faithful to Him, even when He appears to be faithless, when He appears to be not there for us. Certainly, He shows us that He is faithful to us, even when we are faithless. But we also need to find our bearing and our true north, as it were, that can keep us headed in the right direction, even in the dark, even when we cannot see God or feel His love and provision. So the bottom line for me is that God made man so that He could create us a little lower than the angels for now, that they could be ministering spirits to us, that they could see our frailty and our weakness, our ugliness and ignorance, and yet that we would have that capacity to claim our sonship, to claim our identity as children of God, and to hold on to our divine right to surrender to God as God, and then to participate with Him in redemption, in the redemption of our own suffering and the suffering of others. Knowing that at the end of the day, if we show our love and faithfulness, that He can invite us into a heavenly dwelling where we can be one with Him, where He can give us even more than He ever gave the angels, because our hearts have been proved and there is not the possibility of rebellion in heaven when we've surrendered here on earth. Well, I hope this little video is helpful. I think it's a big question. You may have other ideas. Feel free to drop them in the comments. Please like the video, subscribe, and I love you.